See, there's a difference between being God body and having a God complex. And as I was watching parts 3 and 4 of Sean Combs' The Reckoning, which is the documentary on Diddy that is produced by 50 Cent, I quickly realized that Diddy has crossed that line from being God body into having a God complex. Let's talk about it. See, Diddy is a product of the 90s. He rose to stardom in the 90s. And in the 90s, especially in New York, there was a popular group called the Nation of Gods and Earths, most commonly known as the 5% Nation. You heard a lot about them from groups like Wu-Tang.
The number 1 is knowledge. The number 2 is wisdom. The number 3 is understanding. The number 4, now, depending on who you were taught by, some people will say just culture, or some people will say culture freedom. I was taught that it's culture freedom. So I always say culture freedom. Okay? Then you go to the number 5, which is, so again, depends on how you taught. People just say power. I was taught it's power refinement. Okay? 6 is equality, 7 is God, 8 is build, destroy, 9 is born, and 0 is cipher.
I just want to say to you, peace, God. What's today's mathematics?
Today's mathematics is wisdom. My favorite peace. Peace and love.
That's a little Method Man trivia for all you out there who don't know. You better ask somebody.
People like Erykah Badu, who talked about being born underwater with $3 and 6 dimes, which is an ode to supreme mathematics.
Cipher is a completion. Anything that is complete. It could be represented by a circle which consists of 360 degrees. And my cipher keeps moving like a rolling stone. In my song, I say I was born underwater with $3 and 6 dimes. When I say born, I mean at the time of conception, the womb is filled with water. That's when you're born. It took me 9 months to become complete, represented by 360 degrees, or $3 and 6 dimes.
She also talked about, the whole 120 and the plus degree, but you can't keep your man up off of me. The 120 plus degree is an ode to the 5% Nation and knowing your 120. The term God body came from the Nation of Gods and Earths. It came from the 5%ers. And to be a God body being means to understand your divine identity, your divine rights, and knowing who you are, also known as having knowledge of self, connecting with the divine God energy within, understanding that if we were made in God's image, call us by our name, which Badu also said, right? Understanding that you have a piece of God within you. We are all spirit beings having a human experience. That God energy dwells within you. That is what it means to be God body. And that's only a pinch of it. The other part of being a God body being that a lot of people, especially folks like Diddy, don't seem to understand is that you have to do some ego work, because being God body within self means that you also recognize the God within other beings and you respect the God energy within other beings. It's understanding that we are all products of one infinite divine source, that all of us have a piece of God energy within us. And because I respect the God within me, I also respect and recognize the God within you. That's what it looks like to be a fully balanced God body being. And once you start lacking compassion for others and you stop respecting the God energy within other beings, you cross that line into having a God complex where you think you are the only one. Therefore, you try to dominate others. You try to
What's up? It's the Monster Man, man. This video is crazy, man. Everyone remember when Diddy said in the documentary that he was God? He only can compare himself with God. He feel like he can walk on water. So Diddy think that he was so rich and powerful, he believed that he can just do anything. God didn't tell you to do all of that bullshit that you done. You need to stop talk like you're a god. You're not a god. You're a rich billionaire and all. You're a rap mogul, but you're not God, because God don't support those type of bullshit. You were wrong for all of the thing that you done. So we had to hold you accountable. You was really getting out of control. So Diddy need to get everything what is happening to him, man. He was bullshitting. But it is what it is, man. You need to watch a full video. Let's get it.
Flex your muscles. It gives very much dictator energy. It gives very much evil. And I feel like Diddy had crossed that line. Now, if we're being honest here from a spiritual perspective, Diddy is a reflection of what it looks like to be both God body and then have that God complex. If you look at some of the benefits of being God body, which looks like the confidence that comes from having knowledge of self, knowing who you are, the fact that you know your worth, right? And you're not settling for anything less than what you deserve. Also being a master manifester, which really is a product of the first two. All of those are benefits of being God body. And Diddy definitely embodied that.
If so, bump somebody. All right, thanks. I love you, man. Bye. I got my MTV out. Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get! Yes! What's next? What's next? I gotta get it. I'm not gonna stay fucking down. I'm not gonna stay fucking lying down. I'm not. I can't do it, man. I can't do that. What's next? Give me something else. What can't you do? I can do it. I can do anything.
He embodied that confidence. He embodied that knowing your worth, right? He embodied that ability to be a master manifester. But that God complex is where his lows was, because he couldn't control that ego, because he lacked that compassion, because he stopped seeing and respecting the God energy in other beings. He became an energy harvester. He became a person that sucked and fed on the energy of other beings. I would say pause, but in this case, no pause necessary. Okay. In this case. But seriously, though, you know, he really fed off the life force and the energy of other beings. And that is the God complex. You intentionally hurt and harm and impede upon other people's wellness when you have a God complex. The God complex comes from ego. Being God body comes from spirit. And the saddest part is that most people who start out God body but cross that line into having a God complex aren't even aware that they are doing it. And it's simply because they convince themselves that their ego is spirit speaking to them. It reminds me of that scene in the documentary where Diddy keeps saying that God told him to do nothing, but then turns around and say, but God didn't say that Justin, speaking of his eldest son, God didn't say Justin can't do nothing. God didn't say the lawyer shouldn't do something. So y'all need to do something. Y'all need to use y'all brains to get me out of this situation. That was God complex energy. He convinced himself that his God complex ego was speaking to him and was actually the voice of God telling him to do nothing. The ego is not God, but he couldn't tell the difference between the two.
God told me to do nothing, so I gotta do what God told me to do. So he wants me to do nothing, but he's not saying he doesn't want Justin to use his brain and everybody to use their brains to figure out whatever. You know what I'm saying? Send it to us. That's why God telling me not to do nothing. Y'all do it. Y'all see it.
I think one of the biggest spiritual lessons in the Sean Combs, The Reckoning documentary, is to mind your ego. It's to understand that you can have knowledge of self. You can be God body. You can have confidence and know who you are and be a master manifester. But everything you have within you, you need to have the ability to see and respect that in other beings. If I don't hurt myself, why would I hurt my brother or my sister? If I love myself, I should love my brother or my sister. And when you truly recognize the God within and the God in others, that is when you are living in divine alignment and you are living in God consciousness, or as the Christians would say, in Christ consciousness.
And this video is crazy, man. Diddy just had a big ego. He thought that he was untouchable. So he continued to do the same bullshit over and over. And then you're gonna say God tell you to do it. You're gonna call one of your band members and you call her about 39 times or about 100 times. So you can see that you're obsessed with power and you believe that everybody have to do what you say. We're not puppets for you, Diddy. So everything what happened to you, you deserve that shit because you was a real sucker. All of this shit should have happened. So more charges are coming. Shit is getting crazy for the diddler. I don't know how he's gonna make it out, man, because shit is just getting wild right now. More charges are coming, more lawsuits. So this documentary got to open everyone's eyes. This was just an eye-opener. But a lot of people know that Diddy been the devil for so long. He been a demon, been sacrificing people, doing all type of crazy stuff just to have power. So understand that a lot of people are saying that Diddy have something to do with Tupac getting killed. Biggie Smalls, I believe that he got something to do with Tupac. I don't sure about Biggie, but I believe that he was so obsessed with Tupac, he went and sleep with his girlfriend. He wanted to be in a relationship with her because he was so obsessed of Tupac and Biggie Smalls' friendship. So everyone got to see the upbringing of Diddy coming up and see how jealous Diddy always was. He always want the center of attention. He always want to be in the spotlight. He want to get all of the credit for what all of his artists have done. And he robbed all of his artists. No one got nothing good to say about Diddy. He's just not a good person and he don't got a good reputation. So everything what is happening with the diddler, he deserved to get this shit, man. He was a real sucker for doing lowballing people, using people, and be using his power and then threatening people's life when they try to help themselves out of a situation. Because Little Rod was trying to get back his money from Diddy, and when he tell Diddy that he wants his money, Diddy told him, you know who you're playing with, man? You're not getting shit. So I understand why he had to file a lawsuit. But that Little Rod scenario where he said sometime he go to bed, girls are in the bed, next time he wake, Diddy's in the bed and he's laughing with you and your ass is sore, man, I just can't believe that shit. But I understand if Little Rod work, you need to pay him. But all of those stuff is just sus to me because you did all of that shit just for money and fame and fortune. I'm not giving up my manhood that way, man. I'm not gonna ever do that shit. That is just gay to me. And now you're trying to get a lick back because you're just bitter. Because Diddy used you and you did not go and look for your kids because you was around Puff Daddy. You wanted the lifestyle. You wanted to live the fast life. You wanted to be on the yacht. You wanted to party with Diddy. Now this is the outcome. You got your sour cakes forever, Ninja, and you're not going to get $1 from Diddy because no one is going to believe that lawsuit. That is just some gay shit. But it's crazy, man. It is just crazy how much people is suffering because of Diddy. This Ninja is a real monster and we need to lock him away. But it is what it is, man. It's Team Monster Man. Have a blessed day.
Hey, is it on? Is that thing recording? Look, some of y'all ain't got no paper, no power, and y'all not staying out of prison. Okay? Diddy had paper, power, relationships, and that's why he probably stay out of prison. Okay? Now, when it comes to business, when it comes to watching people build dynasties, I grew up watching these folks make millions, build legacy, and all of that. For their own personal reasons, they tore their stuff down to the ground. That's on them, okay? But I want to say this to all you knuckleheads out there rallying and rooting. Is it on? Is that thing recording? You don't have no paper. You don't have no power. And y'all going to prison for real. So don't go out here trying to have you no slaves. Don't go out here trying to tie nobody up. Don't go out here trying to do nothing worse than what you're already doing. Because your Pope is going to prison. Po behind, Po self, and what Uncle Donnie on, baby, some of y'all behinds going to the pound. Where the dogs at? Where the puppies at? Because the prison can't even afford you. So, with that being said, take notes. R. Kelly don't have no relationships. Nobody fool with him. Probably no relationship with God. He got one now.